Most people think self-sufficient gardening means growing everything. I used to think that too. I imagined endless rows of vegetables, fruit trees heavy with harvest, and a pantry overflowing from a single season of work. But when I actually tried to build a self-sufficient garden, I realized something quickly. Growing everything is not the goal. Growing what matters is. For most of history, families didn't aim for variety first. They aimed for reliability. They grew crops that fed them consistently, crops that stored well, and crops that could survive imperfect conditions. When I shifted my focus from abundance to stability, self sufficiency stopped feeling overwhelming and started feeling practical. If you're just beginning, the first thing I learned is that you don't start with seeds. You start with a plan. When I planted my first serious garden, I chose what looked exciting: tomatoes, peppers, herbs, leafy greens. The beds were colorful and the harvest felt rewarding. But when I calculated how much actual food I had produced in terms of calories, it barely sustained me for a few days. That was my turning point. Self sufficiency isn't about what looks impressive, it's about what keeps you fed when the season ends. The first rule I follow now is simple: prioritize calories, dense, storable, dependable calories. Salad crops are refreshing, but they won't carry you through winter. Potatoes will, dry beans will, winter squash will. When I shifted the majority of my garden space toward calorie dense crops, my food security increased dramatically without increasing my garden size. A single bed of potatoes produced more usable food than multiple beds of greens ever did. That changed how I designed everything. I began building my garden around 5 core crops: potatoes for bulk calories, dry beans for protein and soil health, winter squash for long term storage, onions for flavor and preservation, and one fresh seasonal crop, usually tomatoes, for nutrition and morale. Limiting myself to 5 core crops forced me to focus. I learned their planting times, spacing, pest patterns, and harvest windows deeply instead of spreading myself thin. The result was fewer mistakes and larger harvests. Design became my next lesson. Early on, I tried to make my garden look organized and aesthetic: straight lines, decorative borders, tight spacing. But self sufficient gardening rewards efficiency, not appearance. I redesigned my beds so I could reach everything easily. I grouped crops by water needs. I planted beans vertically instead of letting them sprawl. I allowed squash to expand outward into unused space. That one change, designing for function, reduced maintenance time and increased yield immediately. Storage was another mistake I made early. The first year I harvested a large crop of potatoes, I felt proud, until nearly a third of them spoiled because I hadn't cured them properly. That loss taught me that harvesting is only half the process. Storage is part of gardening. Now I cure potatoes in darkness before long-term storage. I let squash skins harden fully before bringing them inside. I dry beans completely before sealing them in jars. I hang onions in open air, never plastic. These small, consistent habits turn temporary harvests into year-round food. I also learned to think in seasons instead of harvest days. A self sufficient garden is a calendar. In late summer and fall, I focus on harvesting and curing storage crops. In winter, I rely on potatoes, squash, beans, and onions while planning the next season. In spring, early greens supplement what remains in storage. By summer, fresh crops are abundant again, while storage crops grow quietly in the background. When one food source declines, another rises. That overlap creates stability. Mistakes still happen, but storage crops are forgiving. I've harvested potatoes slightly early and still stored them successfully. I've kept squash with minor surface scars that lasted months. I've grown onions smaller than expected that still served their purpose all winter. Unlike fragile greens, these crops tolerate imperfection. That resilience is what makes them foundational. Over time, I noticed that self sufficiency scales naturally. The first year, I produced perhaps 20% of my vegetable calories. The second year, I improved spacing, soil preparation, and storage, and that percentage increased significantly. Each season builds skill. Each mistake becomes knowledge. Compounding effort matters more than dramatic expansion. The deeper I went into the system, the more I understood that self sufficiency is not isolation, it's resilience. Even growing a portion of your food reduces dependence and stress. I remember the first winter I opened my storage shelves and saw months of food sitting quietly in baskets and jars. There was a shift in my mindset. I stopped worrying about shortages. I stopped rushing to use food before it spoiled. The garden wasn't just producing vegetables anymore, it was producing stability. I also began to notice how the crops supported each other. Beans improved soil fertility for the following season. Potatoes loosened compacted ground. Squash shaded soil and reduced weeds. Onions helped deter certain pests. The system started functioning as an ecosystem rather than isolated plants. Self sufficient gardening became less about individual harvests and more about continuity. Perhaps the biggest myth I had to unlearn was that you need a massive space. You don't. You need intention. A few well managed beds of calorie dense crops can outperform a large, chaotic garden. Dense planting, vertical growth, and careful planning make small spaces surprisingly productive. Self sufficiency is about design, not size. Timing also became critical. Storage crops must be harvested mature. Potatoes dug too early lose longevity. Squash picked before skins harden spoil quickly. Beans harvested damp mold in storage. Learning proper harvest timing extended shelf life more than any other adjustment I made. Months of food can disappear because of a single week's miscalculation. As the system matured, I realized something else. Visible food changes behavior. When your shelves hold potatoes, jars of beans, hanging onions, and cured squash, you become more intentional. Waste decreases. Planning improves. Meals become seasonal without effort. Hidden food feels endless. Visible food teaches limits and abundance at the same time. That is what self-sufficient gardening truly means. It is not about proving you can grow everything. It is about building a system that quietly feeds you through changing seasons. It is about planting with winter in mind during the warmth of summer. It is about curing, storing, rotating, and improving every year. When I began, it felt overwhelming. Now it feels structured. Start with calories. Focus on 5 core crops. Design for efficiency. Learn basic storage. Build a seasonal calendar. Improve each year. That blueprint is simple, but it works. Self-sufficiency is not dramatic. It is steady. It is not about perfection. It is about progress. Grow what sustains you. Store what carries you forward. Refine the system every season. And eventually, your garden stops being a hobby. It becomes security. What changed for me wasn't just my pantry, it was my timeline. I stopped thinking in weeks and started thinking in seasons. Supermarkets operate on daily cycles. Self-sufficient gardening operates on annual cycles. When I shifted to that perspective, urgency disappeared. I wasn't reacting to empty shelves. I was preparing months in advance. That mental shift alone reduced waste, impulse planting, and random crop choices. I also began measuring success differently, not by how beautiful my summer garden looked, but by how calm my winter felt. If January arrived and I wasn't worried about food, I knew the system had worked. That became my metric. Stability over spectacle, calories over color, reliability over trends. There were failures along the way. I lost onions to poor curing one year. I stored squash too close together and mold spread. I underestimated humidity in my basement and paid for it. But each mistake improved the system. Storage gardening rewards observation. The crops teach you what they need if you pay attention. Over time, I realized something important. Self-sufficiency is not isolation, it's resilience. Even if you only replace 20% of your food with what stores well, you've reduced dependency dramatically. And once you understand storage crops, expanding becomes easy. You don't need perfection, you need direction. Start small, grow what stores, build one season ahead, then let the system compound. That's when gardening stops being a hobby and becomes infrastructure.